All right, we are recording this meeting, so if you guys feel like taking notes today, you want to refer back to the recording. I'm going to attach it to an email update and also to the webpage, Popcorn webpage. So feel free to share that, and we'll send it around if anybody missed the presentation tonight. With that, what I think I'd like to do is turn it over to Mitch. He's got a sales presentation for us, and then we want to save some time for kind of nuts and bolts, popcorn system, ordering show and sell. It's a new system for us this year, so I assume there's going to be some questions. We want to save some time for that. And anything else you guys have questions about. So, Mitch, all yours.
Great, thank you very much. Well, first off, everyone, I'm very happy to be here, so thank you for having me. Ramsey Popcorn is a fourth-generation, family-run popcorn company based in southern Indiana. We're one of the 3 vendors that support the Boy Scouts. I've spent over 10 years supporting scouting, both running the central region for your former vendor, as well as I worked what I call the West Coast for Ramsey Popcorn, which I define as the west bank of the Mississippi to the Pacific Ocean. All right, good. I got one last. In any case, while we talk about this as a sales presentation, this really is sales training. We have a program that was developed by a scouting dad many, many years ago, exclusive to camp masters. And these skills that I want to share with you, I hope that you can take and use within your unit. The impact of those units that employ these tactics or techniques or sales approaches has been over 15% growth in their unit growth year over year for the last 3 years. So we call it how to sell $10,000 in a weekend, and I don't know how much anyone sells here, and it doesn't really matter, okay, whether it's 2,000 or 10,000. The question is, what is the council, what are you doing as a unit? That's okay. Sorry about that.
Hey, Mark, excuse me. Can we ask those people on the phone to mute their phones? There's a lot of feedback, those calling in.
Okay, that's a fantastic idea. If you could, and then if you've got a question, feel free to unmute and raise your question. Thank you. The program was really written around developing a way that enables you to raise all the funds outside of your fundraising base. And as we define that, that's outside of your chartering organization. It's getting out into the local community, having your local community support you. Because you want to be seen and you want to give back to your community as well as take from them. Less time and more sales obviously means more profit. Those people, again, using this approach have been able to achieve that so they can focus on having one fundraiser. How many people have actually heard of the Ideal Year of Scouting? No one? Okay. Ideal Year of Scouting is an approach where you set your budget for the year, you plan your activities, and you generate a budget and an approach for your fundraising needs for one fundraising and how much you need to sell based on what your ideal year of scouting looks like from that perspective. Michael's approach when he developed this, for his perspective, the most important thing was to enhance the skills of the scouts in his pack at that time, because he knew he wanted to help them later in life, and he's a professional salesperson with 20th Century Fox film distribution. And when his wife asked him to write this program, he knew that they were doing 4 and 5 fundraisers. They weren't raising a lot of money, and he just felt like they were raising money all the time, or trying to, so they could have some scouting activities that they weren't paying for. And he wanted to make sure that whatever they did, that we focus in on skill development, because that's what scouting is about, right? So we're kind of going in conjunction with scouting from that viewpoint. It'll help you achieve more parental involvement. Everybody happy with that, you know, one day a month that you're getting out of your parents today? How do we achieve this? Because within the first 15 to 20 minutes of employing these sales approaches, you will see a change in the scouts. You'll see a change in the way they are talking to adults. You'll see a change in their disposition and their enthusiasm, and they become out of their shells. And I have actually seen a few scouts have changed in front of me in that way. But more importantly, those that have been using this, it's really inspiring to be able to watch a young man who's 8 or 10 years old get up in front of 2,000 people and tell people what he was doing. I mean, he's 10 years old, right? And they just say, hey, come up here and tell us what you did. And he was able to do that, I believe, because of the practices of following what we've been doing here. Enable your packet trips without worrying about money, and the bottom line is less fundraising and more fun. Is that why you guys wanted to do a popcorn sale? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're all in alignment. Just a little background. When Michael first wrote this program, the PAC was doing $1,500 in sales before he wrote the program, and they were only doing take order. So when Kitty, his wife, had him write this program, he implemented. He went and got his two sons, trained them. They went and got 2 other scouts, and they trained each other, because Michael felt that, from his experience, that scouts learn better from other scouts, as opposed from parents telling them what to do. So that was his approach. So the Cub Scouts taught each other, and their first year after implementing the program, they did $11,000. The following year, they did over $40,000. This caught the attention of the troop that was meeting on the same night on the other side of the auditorium at the parish. And of course, they said, hey, Mr. Mike, did the Cub Scouts really sell $40,000 in popcorn? And he's like, yep. And they said, well, can we get some of that money? He's like, what, you want the Cub Scouts to loan you money? I'm like, no, we want this program. He says, that's fine. We'll do this, but there's a couple things that I see that I need your help with. One, if we're going to keep our boys in, which we all want to keep the boys in scouting, right? Yeah. What we've got to do is we've got to get them connected with what they're going to become. So he says, I notice when the Boy Scouts come in, they meet on one side of the auditorium and the Cub Scouts are on the other. There's hardly any interaction. So if I'm going to show you this program, then I need at least 5 or 10 minutes at each meeting so that boys get together and interact. So the other thing is that Boy Scouts have never done this. So they're going to have to learn, and they're going to have to learn from the people who've done it successfully. So that meant, guess what? The Cub Scouts were going to teach the Boy Scouts how to sell, right? So that's that approach, and that's what they did. $69,000 in sales between that. And then in the out years, you can see they were selling quite a lot. They were raising enough money to do camper ships. They one unit and a sister-in council had their Christmas trees stolen off their lot. About $25,000 worth of trees. Maybe it wasn't that much, but it was enough for the boys to be able to go to camp. And the unit decided that they would donate them money so that all those 10 boys in that unit could end up going to camp, because they had to pay for those trees, regardless of whether they sold or not. So that's a lot of money. So if you had $4,500, if we were to write you a check for $4,500, what are some of the things you would do? Educational trips, community service projects. One thing that Michael's units do is they give back to their charting organization. They take some of those proceeds and they buy big flats flowers, and they use this as a unit activity as well, because what they'll do with the Cub Scouts is they'll have the Cub Scouts put those flowers in pots, and they'll deliver those to their shut-in list from the parish. The Boy Scouts, what they'll do is they'll actually go to those shut-ins houses, and they'll take care of their yard. They'll mow their yard, maybe trim the bushes or what have you. So it's a good community service project, and it's a good way for them to be seen, giving back to the chartering organization that's chartering them. What about camping equipment? Right? Always need that. Trailers? I guess that would go into equipment, but you got to haul that stuff, right? I saw a lot of trailers on the highway today. Michael's, they bought a van, which you got some tax implications on that, but most important thing is summer camp. Would you all agree with that? Yes. Do most of the scouts here go to camp in Colorado? It varies. It varies. Yep. Because there are a lot of camps. A lot of camps in Colorado, a lot of camps in Utah, Wyoming. Yep. Awesome. Kind of rotate around. Yep. Good. Well, the bottom line is we know as professional salespeople, Michael and I, that typical people hate selling. At least that's what we hear. There's always a few in the room that say, "Oh, I like to sell too." The bottom line is that we sell every single day. Every one of us sells every single day, whether you say you hate it or not. You sell every single day. But we can only sell what we truly believe in. And what's one thing that we all believe in this room? In scouting. So we can sell that, right? We're not here to sell popcorn, are we? We need to be focusing on selling scouting. That is it. We're not here to sell popcorn. We're here to sell scouting from that perspective. Your attitude about this with your scouts affects the aptitude and their willingness and ability to learn. Getting focused in on and building them up to understand that they're going to be learning new skills and new ways of approaching things is really important, and their attitude accepting it is also going to be whether or not they can, take that on and be successful with it. But we will only try to accomplish what we can truly be successful with. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
I mean, I know that my oldest son, who's now in the Army after being in the Marines, he's one of those guys that likes to go jump out of airplanes. And he's always been trying to get me to do a tandem jump or, go parachuting with him, and there's no way I'm ever going to do that, right? Because I don't feel I could be successful with that. If I were to jump out with that one guy who's jumped out 2,000 times, he'll probably be his last jump. So I'm just not going there. But I can't hold back my son from that perspective, even though he's in the Army now. But even before that, I couldn't hold him back from that. So don't hold back others because of your own fears. That one scout dad that comes up and says, "Hey, I apologize about little Jimmy. Well, what's wrong with Jimmy?" "Well, he's kind of quiet and he doesn't like to interact with others." Well, maybe Jimmy's dad is really the one that's kind of quiet and doesn't want to interact with others, right? Because little Jimmy's probably not like that at the unit and the pack meetings, right? He's probably bouncing around like everybody else is. But affect that change, and that change will be effective. And this is life-changing opportunity for you to change things for your scouts, because we all have seen scouts, one or two, that look at their shoes, right? Or they say, well, a lot. They don't look you in the eye when they talk.
Yeah.
And that's the change that we're going to affect through this sales program. So, it's going to enhance the skills of your boys, increase their confidence levels. It's going to give them the pride of achievement, as well as individually, as well as within the group. And it's going to give them opportunity to help each other succeed and promote a whole unit effectiveness. Additionally, they can also receive advancements within the scouting environment. Some of those are even Eagle qualifiers for merit badges from that perspective. Kind of a couple lists of them here at the end. But once they start to believe that they can do it, they're going to start raising their own bar. The key thing is not to set goals for the scouts. If you set a goal for a scout, say, hey, you're going to sell $600 or you're going to go raise $600, they probably don't believe in that, right? But once they've become successful and they start seeing how successful they can be and how willing the community is to support them because they're using the right techniques, they're going to start raising their own goals, right? And again, that's part of that. Affect the change and let the change become effective. It's that approach. I got some hallelujahs in the back of the room. Yeah. So what are we going to be able to accomplish? Everything that they believe they can be. Most are going to become more confident. Most are going to develop self-esteem, better leadership skills, better public speaking skills, a more positive attitude. Good thing, right? Most become more involved, and they're going to earn their own way. But every single scout that participates is going to learn something new. And that's an important differentiator because this is a voluntary opportunity, right? Boy Scouts don't have to participate in the popcorn sale. But once they see the success that others are having, they're going to want to. Then you're going to have more money to do other activities, which gives you the opportunity to start having other boys, their friends who aren't in scouting, participate with you. Circle of life, so to speak. When we talk about $10,000, it sounds pretty daunting for some of you, right? I mean, it's a lot to do. Between I got to train all my scouts. What sales methods are we going to do? I got distribution issues. How am I going to pick up $10,000 of popcorn, right? I mean,
where are we going to put it?
If we were to show up with $10,000 worth of popcorn to your house, you'd probably meet us at the front gate with a shotgun, right? But what you really need to realize, it's not really a wall. It's really steps. Steps that you can take to help you achieve whatever that number is at the top, whether it's 10, whether it's 20, whether it's 5. From that perspective, it's inconsequential. Just follow the steps. I will be providing everyone here tonight a CD that has this presentation and some of the sales tools from Michael Beck as well. And those of you on the phone, Mark will have some extras as well, and we'll get those to you. I would ask that you don't distribute this electronically, because it is Michael's information from that perspective. But these tools will enable you to take this presentation, go back and review it later too. Okay? Where did I go? Oh, there we go. So we want to make sure we remember to sell all 4 ways. These techniques, they affect all 4 ways of selling popcorn or promoting scouting from that perspective. How do I get back? Right quick. Try it. Going back. First is take order. They're a little bit out of sequence. Take order, of course, is where we go door to door in the neighborhoods. Show and sell, which is where we set up in front of storefronts or other activities such as county fairs, maybe football games, basically anywhere at a location sale from that perspective. Some refer to it as a booth sale. The modified, what I call show and sell on wheels, is show and deliver, which is where we take product that we have from show and sell, and we go into the neighborhoods and we take it with us. This is a really beneficial way of selling, particularly in our outlying areas, because it's a one-stop opportunity, and we're going to talk about how you can have more success with some of these techniques. And then finally, of course, selling online. And you want to use the same sales presentation online as you do when you're going door to door or when you're in the storefront sales as well. So make sure you maximize and sell at least 3 of the ways, and try and get your scouts to sell all 4 ways if you're doing all 4. I know some units don't do show and sell. So one thing we want to make sure we do is, we've heard the analogy of you can feed a person for a day, or you can teach them to fish and feed them for a lifetime. And that's what we want to do. We want to teach our scouts to fish. We want to teach them the right way to present themselves and what they're doing, because they have a significant advantage, right? And some of them are about 3.5 to 4 feet tall, and they look button cute when they're in their uniform, right? More importantly, the older boys, they look very professional when they're in uniform and they're full uniform. And when they follow the procedures we're going to talk about, it blows people away. It's also a good statement for scouting from that perspective. So we got to make sure at your kickoff you take the time to train your scouts and let them know you will be more effective if you will follow this approach. And if you're doing show and sell, please follow the process from that perspective. Don't lose what you already have. How many people keep their take order forms from the previous year? This is a great way for you to maintain a list of people who've helped you in the past. Now granted, we're a new vendor for you, but we have a take order form too. Guess what? It has 30 lines, just like the other one does, right? It has popcorn products that people can support scouting with, right? So the popcorn's inconsequential. But keep your take order form every single year, because even if little Timmy gets lost out of camp and doesn't come back because he runs away with Sasquatch, right? The following year, you can have your scouts together and you can say, hey, you remember little Timmy, the funny kid that ran away with Sasquatch? Yeah, he's not here, but guess what? We've got his order forms. So here they are. Go ask these people if they'd like to help you with scouting. What a great way for a new scout coming in, right? To earn some money immediately. So use those every single year. Hold on to them. Taking your order forms to work. Y'all have heard this approach, right? Don't be shy. Okay. We actually recommend that you don't do that. Quit taking the order forms to work. Take your scout to work with you. Now, not every business will allow you to do that, so if that's the case, then take the order form to work. But take your scout to work. The reason why is your scout's going to be able to practice these skills. They're going to get more support than you ever will. In addition, maybe it gets you out of the situation of where your coworker says, hey, remember when I bought that popcorn for your son? My daughter's selling, pizzas for the band. Would you buy that? And you can say, well, where is she? Might get you out of that. It might not. Show and deliver. These are some specific techniques. This is one way to increase your sale at the door. We know that consumers gravitate towards the lowest price item that they see either in front of them or on a list. One other little thing that they do, consumers also gravitate to whatever they're holding. So when you are going door to door, we would recommend that you do take product with you. So we highly recommend the show and deliver sales approach. The reason being is, coach your scouts to take a $15 or $20 tin, which is one of these size tins, take that with them to the door, or the $15 microwave. Have it in their hands. Don't just be there with their order form. Have their order form in their back pocket. Knock on the door, do their presentation, and by the way, as they're talking to the person, put the product out because most people are going to take it away from them. Well, guess what? They just bought it, right? So it's just like buying a used car or any other car, right? What's the one car dealer wants? The car dealer wants, what's the first thing they want to get you to do?
Test drive.
Take a test drive. Do they let you take the car away for a day or overnight around here? In West Texas, they used to do that. Take it home. You know, show the Mr. or the little lady, right? Then you're done from that perspective. Then once you've closed that sale, or they said, okay, well, tell me about that product you're holding, and you hand it to them, and they might take that. If they purchase that, then you can pull your order form out of your back pocket or from your clipboard and say, is there anything else that you might like to support us with, maybe for your friends or neighbors? That's a way to increase your sales at one stop, because now you're getting a multiple sale opportunity there. Okay? And that's important when we have a limited number of people we can approach, right? It's all about being more effective. Online sales is a pretty underused platform. I know your previous vendor really pushed this a lot, so you guys probably are pretty aware with this. We do have an online solution as well, but amazingly, a lot of people don't sell online. 90% of the purchases online are to friends or family. So it's an opportunity. We'll get more into our online sales approach, but use the same presentation in the email when you send someone an email or have your scout send an email, and they'll be able to see that. And then show and sell. A lot of people call this the instant increase because we've seen sales dollars increase from show and sell, but Michael does not refer to this as the instant increase in sales dollars. Well, that might be true. More importantly to him, it's the instant increase in self-confidence and public speaking skills and enthusiasm and just personal awareness that the scouts present, that those that participate with. When he first did his program, he was only going to go out for one weekend. And he worked all day. He worked 2 shifts on a Saturday with the scouts. And he thought that was going to be it for him. Well, at Saturday night, they did so well that they were begging him to go back out Sunday. And, of course, he had to. He felt obligated. Heck, he had, an 8 or 9-year-old wanting to work. Come on. So he took them out again, and they really blew it out. And they ended up selling 3 weeks. Those sales dollars that I shared with you earlier, those were all completed in a 3-week period, because the 4th week, their unit went scouting, and they didn't sell after that point. So they were raising that money in 3 weeks. It's all about commitment. So you obtain the locations the same way that the scouts sell, which is you want to make sure we have good presentation for the scouts, appearance presentation, obviously courtesy, cleanliness, and again, appreciation. I'm going to get a little bit into the techniques of setting up for show and sells, because this is a little bit more technical as opposed to going door to door or neighborhood canvassing. But you need to start about a month and a half out in front of the sale. We're not too late. It's okay. Some people have their favorite locations that they like to sell at. Let me tell you that it's not just the big box stores are the good locations. What you want to do, I might be on the next slide. I'm going to skip ahead. In the essence of time, you want to look for locations that have high traffic volume, a lot of in and out traffic. So yes, a Walmart or a large grocery store or hardware store, or sporting goods store, yes, they have a lot of traffic from that perspective. That's why they're good. There are other stores, though, that are just like that as well, particularly in some of the outlying areas. I know in West Texas, Tractor Supplies are a great location on certain days. On Sundays, they're not as good as they are on Saturdays, because people are doing other things on Sundays. But you need to look at those locations, and that can be even truck stops, convenience stores, some donut shops, exercise, what do you call it, gymnasiums, like 24-hour fitness, Lifetime Fitness. I know. I'm telling you.
You just worked out here. I'm just talking covered last week.
I understand, but we're looking for support for scouting, and there's a lot of activity coming in and out of those locations. I almost fell over. Some of the units in Oklahoma actually have been selling in front of some of the Indian casino areas as well. So I don't know how anybody feels about that, but that's true. You want to make sure that you set up outside when you do a show and sell. This is really important, because if you set up inside, it's going to be in a doorway or a hallway. And if you set up too close to the doorway, if your scouts are talking to someone and someone walks up behind them, that person they're talking to is going to feel like they need to move.
It's just human nature. So make sure when you do set up, don't crowd the doorways or the aisleways so that you get enough movement between people and your scouts as well. Now, as we talked about, this is a great representation of a location and also a representation of the Cub Scouts training the Boy Scouts. This is actually the first show and sell that Michael's unit did, and that Tiger Cub, Andrew Morton, is teaching those two Boy Scouts the sales presentation. It was great because Michael would team up the Boy Scouts with the Cub Scouts. Andrew, the Tiger Cub, he had the sales presentation down great, and he is a cute-looking kid. So I'm quite sure that, you know, he's probably breaking a lot of old ladies' hearts as they're walking out of the store, you know, that this little kid could have a conversation with her. But he didn't know about money, so it was a perfect opportunity for him to partner with a Boy Scout who could handle the money side of the transactions. It just so happens the Boy Scout standing up suffered from debilitating shyness, right? And he was very, very introverted. But because Michael paired him up with Andrew, extremely extroverted, this got to pull Patrick out of his shell because Patrick was forced to talk to people, particularly about the money stuff as it relates to that. So this was a life-changing effect for Patrick as well. But think those demographics, high traffic. We talked about cash machine on premises. Highly recommend if you're not using a credit card reader that you look into that. Camp Masters has a program with Pay Anywhere. You can use Square if you've been using it, what have you. But it is simple to use. It sets up straight into your bank account for your unit. You do need your tax ID number from your chartering organization. So if it's a school, it might be a challenge, or other professional organization. But it will increase your sales about 10 to 15% because today more people are carrying plastic versus cash. Seeing a lot of head nods. We talked about a high volume of male clientele, and that's only because anybody who's been in scout, any man who's been in scouting for one day has a scouting story, right? And this is just an opportunity for your scouts to bond with people and practice their public speaking skills. So that's why we suggest this. Not that guys eat more popcorn. Well, maybe in one sitting. Maybe in one sitting. So how many locations do you need? It really comes down to how much do you want to earn. Using the principles that we talked about here and we'll talk about, you should be earning at least $200 an hour for that location. I can tell you that Troop 49 in Pineville, Louisiana 2 years ago sold $13,000 in 6 hours. Yeah. They were running 5 locations concurrently all at the same time. It was amazing. So we talked about $10,000. I can get up to point. So what Michael did, he just had 3 locations. He ran them back-to-back on Saturday, on Friday, and then he also followed up on a Sunday as well. Now that's $9,400. You have to excuse me. I went to Texas Tech. Any Red Raiders here? Just me? Never know. Okay. But that $9,400 is not $10,000, I know. You will still be getting donations at your storefront location from that perspective, all right? So that's going to take you over the $10,000 mark easily. We want to make sure that we don't work the locations too frequently because if you do, you're going to start to see the same people. Also, never use store management to mitigate problems. You all may not have as many of those as they do in some of the metropolitan areas where there are 120 units all within 7 miles of each other, but you still may run into a situation. And the store managers, all they know is I've got signed up Boy Scouts to sell, or Cub Scouts to sell, or just Scouts to sell. They don't know P343, 345. They don't know any of that. So don't use them to mitigate any problems. If you show up late and someone's already there set up, you should have probably gotten up earlier. So that's Michael's approach anyway. Have a backup plan. That's what you do need to have just in case, because you never know. What we recommend you do is make sure your boys go in and introduce themselves to the store manager when you get there. Ask for a broom and a dustpan. That way they can clean the area before you set up. That's good so you have a nice clean area you're working. And then when they leave. This is also good because the store manager is going to love it. Because he's going to make sure that it wasn't your boys that left all those cigarette butts out in front of the store after they're gone. Right, y'all didn't find that funny.
That could be a juke.
Make sure your scouts also don't go into the store because we really don't want them in the store because the first thing they're going to go do is buy what?
candy, or anything with sugar in it, right? Make sure they're only drinking water or Gatorade, because sugar is just going to get them pumped up for 10 or 15 minutes and they're going to crash from that perspective, right? They're there to work. Also, they need to be focused on what they're doing. Donations that you get, they can be used to help your scouts afterwards. Like maybe take them to Burger King or Pizza Hut or whatever as a unit activity. It's a good way to bond from that perspective. One thing you don't want to do is ask for donations. Asking for donations is actually against your charter. Glad that most of you guys know that, right? It will also reduce the amount of money that you make, because what it effectively does is takes the value of your scout's time and presentation from a $10 or $15 level of support or higher to pocket change from that perspective. So please do not put a donation jar out there, because that's the lowest level of contribution that someone has to give you, right? And your boys don't have to ask. They don't have to have the conversation either, which goes against our skill development, okay? So we don't, please don't do that. But you can use those for camperships. You can use that to water and feed your horses, which are who? Your scouts, right? During the sale. All right, and then at the end of the sale, you can convert those into military donations even, and purchase those, and we'll deliver that popcorn for you. These location assignment sheets on these slides, they will be part of the tools that I'll be giving to you later, all right? Biggest recommendation I'd like for you all to leave with today is, if you're going to do a premise sale, do not use a chair or a table. I didn't see anybody fall over. We recommend strongly that you not use chairs or tables. The reason being is, if you put a table out along with signs and what have you and stack up product on it, it'll be hard for the consumers to actually see the scouts. Additionally, if you put a chair out there, even if it's for the location supervisor, the parent, as soon as they get up, maybe to go use the bathroom or just walk it, one of the scouts is going to run to sit down in there, and that's really not what we're looking to do. The reason why we say no tables and no chairs, quite honestly, is because we are going to have your scouts out in front of the product talking. That way gives them flexibility to move. Normally, I wouldn't be sitting down, but because we're in this video conference, I am. It gives them an opportunity to move from side to side and approach this gentleman over here or approach this gentleman over here, and it gives them that flexibility and allows them to, get that enthusiasm and that motion that creates that emotion. Oh, by the way, a little secret, it's less for you to carry to a location too. So have fun with this and really try and get them to get built up about it and have that level of enthusiasm. One thing that you can do is you can ask them to kind of rock on their feet this way, so that you can tell whether or not they're paying attention, they're ready to sell. And what we do is we actually came up with a name for this, what Michael did. He calls this the pee-pee dance. And you can tell sometimes maybe the boys actually might have to go to the bathroom, so when you talk to them, say, hey, you got a good pee-pee dance, going like, well, it's because I've really got to go. You might need to let them go in and use the bathroom. But getting that emotion and getting that excitement with them, and that motion will create that emotion for them. So when you're running site sales, you do want to limit the amount of low-price items that you have on hand. The reason being is these are going to be the items that sell out first, and this is where your scouts can hone their trade or learn their skills, so to speak, because they're easy to sell that way. We call it grease. So it's just like the $10 items from that perspective. But you want to have some on hand so that you can get people out of their shell and get them moving, because they need to loosen up as well. But again, the lowest price items would be the ones that sell out first. Some of the strongest selling units that I've seen recently, they don't even take $10 items out for their show and sell, or they don't take it with them when they do their show and deliver either. They just have $15 and above, because they know that's what they've got. That's what they sell. And they do great with it. One thing you also want to make sure you do is teach your boys to say thank you, whether or not someone supports them or not. Because not only do we have to teach them how to handle success, but we also need to help them understand how to accept defeat or a no and handle that with grace. You got to get everything on your head. So one little thing that Michael experienced on that is he had a gentleman that came up and said some pretty mean things to his son, things that an adult probably should never say to a kid, and that's going to happen. You know, there's knuckleheads out there. They're going to say some things that are just not appropriate to have a conversation like that with a 9 or 10-year-old scout. You know, it has nothing to do with it. But fortunately for Cody, all he did was say, well, thank you for taking the time to listen, and that got him out of that situation. The gentleman behind this guy heard Cody's response and ended up being Cody's biggest sale of the day, was like $300 or $400 worth of popcorn. So, which is a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of popcorn. So what are our limitations? We're only limited by the number of locations that we secure, the number of people we speak to. This is also true for show and deliver and take order. We're only limited by the number of people that we approach to ask for help with scouting. We're limited by the number of boys who know and understand the presentation, and the number of parents who can get involved as location supervisors or work with their scouts in the neighborhoods, right? So when we talk about merchandising, no tables because they'll use it as a share. What you can do is our product will be shipped in cardboard boxes, and the containers will be inside that. You can break those shipping containers down and build you a base, or leave some of them whole and just kind of create little shelf units from it and stack your product up in a decorative way outside up against the wall. Want to make sure you pyramid that and make it look like a display that might be built inside the store, for instance, inside a grocery store. We ask that you not use signs, particularly signs that say Boy Scout popcorn, you know, with big arrows. The reason being is when consumers pull up and they see signs like that, what's the first thing they do? That's the first thing we do, right? It's the first thing we all do, right? If there's another door, we're going to go to the other door, right? So we don't want to have those signs promoting that viewpoint, because our scouts are going to be doing that, and I'm going to show exactly how we're going to recommend that they do that. And you definitely don't want to put up signs with pricing for two reasons. One, it takes away a reason for your scouts to talk and own that process, and it makes consumers make a decision, you know, right immediately without them having that opportunity. Do not open up the microwave pouches out of the box and sell them for $1. Okay, good. This is no different than donations. You just lowered the value of your scout's time to, you know, just $1 as opposed to an individual sale. You also have to make 10 or 15 or more sales to make up for that difference in that viewpoint. Okay, the popcorn police aren't going to show up, you know, because it says not for individual sale, but you're just hurting yourselves if you do that. Here's a picture of some criminals that I got from last year's sale. I did black out their names, their faces, so you couldn't see them. But you can see there are a lot of different things that they're doing wrong. They got their signs. They got signs with the Boy Scout popcorn. They've got pricing on the products. There's a donation jar actually right back around where the Cub Scout is with the yellow shoes. That's back there. But there's also kids inside the store looking out. So these are some things not to do. All right, they're hiding behind that table. They're not out in front. We want them to be out in front. Similar to this. So you can see the shipper boxes in the background, and they just stack up the product to keep it up off the ground. If you have an issue and you say, Mitch, you know, I don't believe you. We've always used a table. We got to have a table because, you know, it rains, it hails, it lightnings, we have dust storms, it snows. There's too many back to sit on the concrete. Okay, got it. So at least do Mitch and yourself a favor. Take that table and shove it up against the wall so that it's not hanging out there, okay? I'll give you that much if you'll give me that much, all right? So you still have to take the table, though, right? You still have to carry it. But in any case, you can still use the brown boxes for the same thing. But make sure that you take the stuff out of the brown boxes and so it's all colorful so people can see the tins. I already heard some comments today of the tin design and how many people like those and having those back. Consumers will be the same way. All right, presentation, here we go. So what you want to do is get the customer's attention. This is what you need to train your scouts to do. You want to get them to be animated. You need to have them say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am, and project that voice so they get people's attention while they're out in front of the product when they're practicing. This gets the consumer's attention of the person they're trying to talk to. Additionally, we want to make sure that they maintain eye contact. That's critical. This is also going to help them with their public speaking skills, right? So get the person's attention and maintain that eye contact, because if I'm not looking at you or you're not looking at me, somebody's not paying attention, right? Hopefully we want it to be them because we know how we can get them back, right? How you get them back is simple. You want to have your scouts, and I can't do it. Oh, they can see me, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn my back to you guys, okay? So we have your scouts. You want to have them sit and find that person's eyes that way. If they're looking at this person, so like with this lady, she looked away. I said, excuse me, ma'am. That way, I'm finding her eyes from that perspective. It gives me that opportunity to make that connection and begin my presentation from that perspective. Now, some people are going to look away every single time. So what you can do is teach your scout to do that twice, and on the third time, if they keep looking away, if they want to be really aggressive, they can say, excuse me, ma'am, this is very important, before they start their sales presentation. And it works. I mean, it does work from that perspective. So you want to make sure that your scouts use superlative words like outstanding, super delicious, fantastic, to describe what they're doing and maybe the product or what their scouting experience is, right? Because that gives energy to their presentation. The presentation is simple, and it will be on our order form, so that your scouts will be able to see this as well. For those, you'll be getting these at some point in the future. This is what they look like, but our presentation is actually right here at the bottom too. But the principles are, tell them who you are, first name only, tell them where you're from, because this draws, a representation that you're from the local area, hopefully. Tell them what you're doing, very simple, we're raising money for our PAC, raising money for our troops. And then tell them what they can do for you. You can help me by trying some of my delicious popcorn. Don't ask them to buy anything right then with that statement, and then of course you close it. And then the close is this: you'll help me, won't you? Now for the people on the phone, you can't see me, but I am nodding my head, and there's a few people in the room that are nodding their head. I don't know why, but again, this is it's science. It's science. But trust me, teach your boys to do this when they close their sale, and they will get more people nodding their head up and down every single time. So the principles in use, here they are. And what we try to do is encourage you to try to get your scouts to say it as fast as they can until they have it memorized perfectly and they can say it perfectly. The reason why we want them to say them fast is because if they say it fast, that means they don't have to think about it. And if they don't have to think about it, that means they're not going to change it. Because the first thing they're going to change is what? Excuse me, sir, would you like to buy some popcorn? And what's the answer to that question? No, not today or any other day, because you've already been to the grocery store the last 2 times this week, right? If you want popcorn, you probably bought it already. But so this is the presentation. Hello, ma'am. My name's Mitch. I'm with Troop 37 here in Grand Junction. We're selling popcorn to raise money for our troop. You can help me by trying some of my delicious popcorn. You'll help me, won't you? That is the presentation. The faster they can say it, the better. They need to memorize that, and there's a couple different ways that work well. It's just rote memorization. The great thing is if you're doing any other type of fundraiser activity, you can take the same sales approach, and you'll have success with that one too, inclusive of scouting for food. Because one of the ladies that I work with in New Orleans, that's what their unit's done. This lady took this program in her first year. They were doing about $2,000 in Metairie, Louisiana. Their first year they did $12,000 with this program. And that was right as a hurricane hit. She freaked out. She called and said, I got to cancel our order. She called the council, tried to cancel it. She said, no, don't worry about it. We'll be okay. They actually sold 70% of their popcorn the very first weekend. So it does work, and the program does work. She moved to a new unit 3 years later, started over with that unit, and now they're over $10,000 as well. So have the boys practice this so they don't have to think about it, as I talked about. Okay, the cheat sheet is on this. It's also on the order form. And again, we're not asking people to sell popcorn. I know I've got Ramsey popcorn on my shirt and on my business card, and yeah, they pay my bills, but the bottom line is this is about changing the life of any young boy that's in scouting that's running this campaign. For me, that's what it's about. For you, it's about helping your boys become more independent, right? Become successful. All parents want to see their kids succeed. And when they see their kids being successful, that's how they become more involved as well. In any case, that's the presentation for this event. I will provide the CDs for y'all before we leave, and Mark, let's go on to the other components.
Good. Any, before we go on to kind of nuts and bolts, any questions for Mitch on sales? This is our previous vendor was really focused on kind of, systems and the nuts and bolts of the sale. So I really appreciate, Mitch, your perspective on how we're improving the life of a scout and, through a sale, not so much popcorn for scouting. So appreciate that. No questions for Mitch. Let me.
Yeah, I got a question. Here you go.
When you say, can you help us by trying some of our incredibly delicious popcorn, you have some to sample, or it's just
It's
what people usually do?
It's somewhat of it's not an innuendo. I don't know what the word is.
It's the whole
It's
package
inferred.
product.
It's inferred that you're going to purchase that. So you do say I'm selling popcorn, raise money for my pack. You can help me by trying some of my delicious popcorn. Some units have taken product and they'll open one and let people sample that. I don't recall if we got Cinnamon Crunch in the lineup or not. I think we do.
I think we do.
I think we do
Yeah.
too.
The Cinnamon Crunch is Cinnamon Crunch is a good one to an example. Caramel corn is caramel corn.
Yeah.
Okay, our caramel corn has nuts. The Supreme Caramel. You're gonna find that most of the products we have very similar products. Our three-way cheese though is actually 3 cheeses, 3 different cheeses.
We really like the caramel popcorn yours because it's less sweet than Trinidad.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
The caramel's not thick on it, which is
No,
nice.
it's not.
Which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Cinnamon Crunch.
Yeah.
As I
Yeah,
said, you're
Cinnamon
telling
Crunch.
me. I know.
Cinnamon Crunch is one that most people haven't had. It's a sweet cinnamon. Hopefully nobody's a lawyer on the phone. It tastes kind of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. So a lot of people have had it and they go, I just need a bowl and some milk. So that's why I say it that way. But I mean, I like it. But if you don't like cinnamon, you won't like it. But it's kind of sweet. I've had many units though. That would be when it was brand new. They open that can and let people taste it because it's kind of got one of that pow effect that is what it has. So hope that answered your question about samples. Sometimes they work. It's a small investment for the unit, to open 1 or 2 if you need to.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What about the chocolate stuff? We've been going back and forth for show and sell to do the chocolate, and I'm really pushing to not.
Yeah.
What do you?
I don't recommend doing chocolate for show and sell for 2 reasons. One, your business partner, the council, we can't take it back, period. And even at 67 degrees, it is going to become soft or melt.
Yeah, we did coolers last year, but with the tins, it's like, so, okay,
Yeah,
good.
and
You're on my side then.
we actually don't ship chocolate product until October in any case.
Okay.
Although I do have two councils I partner with where they pay for refrigerated trucks, and we ship it to them that way. But they don't allow units to return that. On the chocolate
We
product.
tried last year was the first time we tried doing chocolate during the show and sell.
Yeah, the pretzels.
I don't think it was worth
The trouble.
worth the trouble.
Yeah.
We sold
it all out, but
I also would suggest that I would not accept returns for chocolate because last year I did get bricks of chocolate product returned that I can't do anything with, so we actually took that on the chin.
One recommendation, if you have people ask you at storefront, or you can take it on the take order, right? Or when you're going to show and deliver, you obviously can take that order there. But at storefront, get that person's name, phone number, and get them on a take order, and you can call them and say, look, from a quality perspective, we found that the chocolate becomes too soft and many times melts. So,
okay, thank you.
Good question.
Great question.
What I've been doing is all of our updates as we're moving through the campaign. I've been posting on our popcorn website, and I'm also in the habit of sending out maybe a weekly or every 10 days a popcorn update in an email. If you're not getting those, it just means I have somebody else from your unit as a contact, and let me know, and I can easily add you guys to that email distribution. But again, everything else I duplicate right on the website. So for example, the last update I did on the 27th. That's where I shared the link for the popcorn system. I put on everybody's username and password, screenshots to help us through that process. And I'll just continue to communicate that way. And then obviously if there's any questions or concerns, shoot me a note. Gail takes the phone calls. She's as close to this as I am at this point. So if she doesn't know the answer, we'll get right back to you with a response. But it seems to be working out pretty good so far this year.
That's right off the council website.
It is. In fact, it's the very first thing you see on the council website.
Go under fundraising also.
This is the home page of the council website. This is the first thing you see anywhere on this banner, and it's going to take you to the popcorn sale page.
Or go up at your Christmas fundraising and go down.
Or under fundraising popcorn.
One other avenue for everyone in the room and on the phone, Camp Masters actually fields calls from you as well as consumers. So if you can't get hold of Gail, if it's 5 minutes before the order's due online, right? It's when most everybody puts their order in. You can actually call us. Now, granted, and that number is 800-624-2060. And you can get that off of our website as well, which is campmasters.org. But we're here to help you, and we actually have people that will answer the phone and talk to you. So
the next most pressing date for us is August 7th, and that is when I need to hear from you what your show and sell order is. If you need some help with that, Mitch can actually help us based on the size of your unit, how much you sold last year. He can help us put together a good order for you. And then on the 8th or 9th, I owe Mitch our entire council show and sell order. So that's happening pretty quick. You can place that order on the Camp Master system. Username, password, and instructions to do that are all right here, as well as in an email I sent out, and I can do that again. Or if that's too complicated for you, you don't want to mess with that, send me an email with your order, what you'd like, and between Gail and I, we'll place that order in the system for you. That's August 7th, and the turnaround is pretty quick.
that's next week.
That's next week.
That's Monday.
Yep. And then Camp Master does their thing, and then on August 22nd, they actually deliver the entire council order to us here in Grand Junction at All Pro Moving and Storage on the 22nd. The 23rd, Grand Mesa District's free to go to All Pro Moving and Storage, pick up their product. On the 23rd, I will also load up the popcorn and take it to Majestic Mountain District and deliver to those units. On the 24th, deliver to Three Rivers District units. And we've got a drop-off route that I'll publish and we'll solidify on that. That's about a 15-hour day that Drew and I will be in a rider moving truck delivering popcorn. So, and again, as we solidify that and what time you can come pick up at All Pro Moving and Storage, the address, phone number, I'll update you guys in an email as well as post it on this site. But that's coming up pretty quickly. Next week, we place that order.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've been drinking out of fire hose.
If you choose to do show and deliver, where you have it in a wagon and go around, do you do that during show and sale time?
Yes.
And you just take it out of your show and sale inventory?
Correct. Yep. And at the end of the show and sell, return any of your unopened containers, and I'll do another round trip. Drew and I will spend a couple more days in the van and picking up the unsold popcorn. We bring it all back here, and then we place the take order, put all of that together, and redistribute it again for the take order sale. And that piece of it, I feel like, has been pretty smooth over the past couple of years. I think we've got a decent system.
That's one way that you can actually, help the council out, partner by not returning product, is to take it with you into the neighborhood that you didn't sell at a storefront, because you can apply that against your take orders, of course, and or deliver it right then. And maybe some of the outlying towns
that don't have scouts in them, and I'm sure there are few, where population's 150 or 200 people, they would support your scouts too. And the best way to approach them so you don't have to make a return visit, particularly if it's a 20 or 30-minute drive, is to take product with you from that perspective for the most part. This is a really effective way that units in Iowa and Nebraska, they do this in their farming communities outside of their major areas. They drive out 15, 20 miles and hit those communities as well. And those units are averaging $9,000 per unit across the entire council. That's what their per unit sales is, average are within that council. So it might work for you all here within the Western Colorado Council too.
I've been kicking this around, and you guys tell me your feedback. If you sell out of your show and sell, so I don't have to drive 4 hours to pick it up, and you save me a truck rental, gas, and time, I will come up with a nice thank you. You tell me what that may look like for your unit, and I'd rather give you a $25, $50 gift card than drive 4 hours to pick up popcorn. So let's talk about that and what that looks like this year. We've got a minute and a half, and we've kept this to 1 hour. So maybe we just open it up to any questions, any part of the sale, any questions or concerns. Anything on the phone?
You're good. Okay, then let me close with this. You will be getting a kickoff presentation as well, which will have a little bit more material along with the leader's guide about the products. All of our ready-to-eat product comes in a decorative tin. The microwave is in a box which has Boy Scout themed pictures on it and Boy Scouts on it for the microwave products.
And by the way, we tried the movie theater butter than puffer too. It is. It's good.
It's extra buttery.
It is great.
The order form that you'll be seeing, it does have some designators for light products and healthy products. As we talked about, the mauve sea salt, I want to alert you on show and sells, you may run into a situation where people don't think that there's anything in the tin because the mauve product is wholeless. That's what they call wholeless popcorn. We're the only ones that have it. It has 300% more antioxidants. The sea salt product actually has fewer calories per serving than Skinny Pop popcorn. And it's got good flavor with it too. So just wanted you to be aware of the products that are there. The online ordering system, it's very similar to what the Sales End system looked like 6 years ago, where it was very basic. You only had 2 options to enter. You know, you cannot put a negative number in our system. It has to be a positive number. And it will tell you, once you've placed your containers or your cases in there, what the retail value is so that you know whether you ordered it in the right way. Because if you get an order that says $60,000 retail, hopefully that's a clue to you that you guys are awesome, right? Or it's a clue that, wait, I did something wrong. But it does tell you at the top of it. It is simple to use. It's not dummy proof, but we do try to make it as simple for people that aren't power users. Yes, Darryl.
One question on the online sales: is there what's the limited amount to get free shipping, or is there not free shipping and you have to pay a certain amount per?
That's a great question. So our program is a little different on online sales. Consumer does pay for shipping, but the retail pricing online is similar to what's on our order forms. So as opposed to raising the pricing and then charging a shipping price, they pay what our national recommended pricing are, and then it's whatever they want it. They want to ship it overnight, they'll pay for that. I did a test of this in Abilene, Texas 3 years ago. I ran the numbers, and between the 2 programs, the checkout price is within 10 cents of each other. But up front when you're looking at it, so you might get some abandonment of people when they see the shipping price. That's why we don't offer $10 items, $15 items online, because a $10 item online is not enough return for you anyway, right? From that perspective. Our average sale online is much higher, even with just the standard pricing without lifting it with paying for the shipping from it. You do need to register your scouts. The unit has to register the scouts. We don't allow for scout self-registration because we do not market to them, and we do not want anything to do with that. It helps us with our children's online protection as well. It's okay that they're there, but it's very simple to upload them, and you can even take a spreadsheet and plug it into a CSV file that we have
and upload it that way. I just type it in. It's only a few fields to type in. Great question. Yes, ma'am.
If you're doing the show and sell, does the trip get less if you're using like a credit card?
So the credit card readers, great question. Is it Renee?
Yes. Okay.
So if you use a credit card reader, most of the fees are anywhere from 2.69 to like 3.05. I think Square is like 2.84, but Pay Anywhere's rate's 2.69%. The unit does pay for that 2.69%, so it comes out of the commissions, out of the money that's gone into the bank. So they withhold that 2.69% on the transaction.
Yeah.
But you will actually end up making more sales, and by far, to the point of paying for it.
Literally, they'll pay for themselves. And we had a problem too with the member card
So Pay Anywhere, in our part, I mean, you can use whoever you want. Pay Anywhere is the second largest credit card processor. They actually got involved with scouting because they were doing the Girl Scouts at first.
Would it be helpful if I put some Pay Anywhere links and so you guys can research that?
That would help.
Yeah. Do you also have our commission base, like the breakout?
So I have a couple of you guys that I don't have. I'm not sure which commission base you would like. Where did I put that? Right here. So real simple this year, 30% if you're doing the prize program, 35% if you're not doing the prize program. If your unit paid the fair share campaign earlier in the year, then there's a bonus 7% on your commission. So you can earn up to 42% or 37% plus prizes. And I'm confident that's the highest commission in the entire nation. 6 years ago, I think we were giving 22%, 18%, somewhere around there.
So you don't have to meet certain criteria to get
nothing like that. I made it so simple this year that before, attend a training, get a bonus. Well, you're going to attend a training because you need the information. Let's just simplify the entire thing. And the prize program is new for us. We haven't done prizes in 6 years or more as a council.
There's some awesome prizes.
I think they're awesome.
I can see the Boy Scout excited. Yeah.
We're excited. We're looking forward to that.
You will be able to order the prizes directly from the popcorn ordering system too. There's a link right there. You can click on once you've submitted your take order. We share data with the prize vendor of the amount of sales that your unit sold, so that it knows that you sold $3,500. So it'll be able to flag your order and alert you that you may have overordered.
Can I add to that price? I remember when my boys were selling popcorn a long time ago, that was the price sheet, and they picked the price, and that's where they sell.
Make their goal.
Yeah. So don't let that limit them either. No. I mean, we tried everything we could think of to get them going. No, they got the prize and they're done.
Mitch, I think I'm right in saying this, regardless of what commission, if you're picking no prizes at 35%, this is still available to you. The high achiever prizes is from Campmaster.
So there are two prize programs, if you will, as a unit. That's the way to think of it. There's the council prize program, which is the really cool gadgets and robotic spiders and tents and all have you. If your scouts sell $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, or $3,000, we've got prizes that they can qualify for as well. They're not cumulative. If you have a scholarship scout, we need to know that. Mark will identify that for us. They will get special dispensation. They can get 6% of their sale in American Express gift checks. All other scouts will fall into our High Achievers program. The scholarship scouts don't get to do both. We're just going to give them 6%, which is our High Achievers program. If they sell $3,000, they get 5%.
So is that the scholarships they qualified for Trails End?
Correct.
Okay.
And that stays consistent with Trails End too.
Trails End is still there. It still grows, and
Right.
you still manage that. This is, I like your language, a scholarship replacement. So it's not a scholarship, but it's an equal value.
But they've already qualified for the Trail End when you don't have to qualify for it.
No, we'll grandfather them. That's the special dispensation. Yep. And they can choose. They can choose to get 6% in American Express gift checks, or they can do the high achievers, but they have to qualify on that. I haven't seen a scout yet take the prizes. They just take the 6%. And that's actually good because many scouts are already going to have secondary funds through other means, and this is additional dollars that they can use for other scouting things like high adventure camps and such. And guess what? Some scouts don't go to college.
So I have a quick question regarding the rewards. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful. So as a pack, we just keep track of what each individual boy sells dollar value wise and then report that at the end, and then they get to select their prize?
Yes.
You get to do that. You go shopping for your scouts, you order those prizes, and those prizes are delivered to you, and you have access to that through the popcorn system. I'm not ordering the prizes for you, having them delivered, delivering them to you. It's you handle that, and you have access to it, and the system will stop you if you try to order too many prizes.
Yeah, and just more clear, that order, just as your popcorn order that you submit to the council, will come to the council for the council to review, and then they will approve and release it as part of their order. The prizes will work the same. The council will see the prize orders that you submit, and if you sold $4,000 worth of popcorn and you ordered $7,000 worth of prizes, they'll have a little red flag on the thing that tells them you over-ordered. And you can work through that.
Okay, so it's not tied. Sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
So it's not tied to the scouts' individual take order sales?
We do, that's a good question. We do not track individual scout sales at the take order level.
The units have to.
Yeah.
Make sure they know, because that was a good question.
That's a really good point. You shop on behalf of your scouts, so that's important for you guys to know as you're using that prize system.
Yeah, I remember there was where they're at. Yep, there was a question last year too that came as a surprise to some of the units, that how did they keep track of what each boy sold after they were done? They were asking that question, and I'm going, well, you should have kept track of who was selling at that location and how long they were there, and average, divide out the money or whatever, but each unit gets to decide to do it.
The most popular way to divide money for show and sell is to split the money between the participants. We recommend no more than 3 scouts at a location, because more than 3 is just a party waiting to happen. We also recommend that you do not have 2 introverted scouts as part of that 3-man team. I've seen some units be really effective with 4-man team as well. But the reason you want to have 2 extroverts to 1 introvert, so we can break that introverted scout out of his shell. But that's how most units that I've worked with, they break it up based on that, as opposed to writing down individual sales, because it's a team effort from that perspective. And you just give them credit on the percentage of time that they were there.
So this is a total, like if a scout sells $825, it's everything, any way that they sold it, however they got there. Okay.
And you will be able to generate a report through the ordering system to tell you how much the sales they had online, and if you loaded in their profile how much credit you gave them for show and sell, it would give you a total on that, and then you would have to just add in your take order differential.
Okay. Perfect.
We found it to be cumbersome to have units enter take orders at the scout level, because most people were already doing it via spreadsheet and then having to do it again, so it was duplicated work. I'm a data hound and I understand it. I get it. Sometimes it's good to be exact, but we're trying to make it simple for you. So just give us 1 unit order as opposed to 22 different orders to give us a unit order.
Good question.
I hope we answered your question about the prizes.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much, and I'm excited for this year. I think Camp Masters is going to be awesome to work with.
We hope so too.
All right. Just so you know, Mitch already delivered all of our take order forms, I have those in-house. Gail and I are going to be putting packets together for those of you that are away from Grand Junction. We'll get that mailed out to you. We'll slip in some sample movie theater popcorn in the packet. You guys will like that. And we'll get that stuff mailed out to you as soon as possible. And any other questions? Ran a little over an hour tonight, but good questions, good information. I'm excited about the sale. I think with the Tims coming back, the prize program, and this focus on scout sales methods, that's all new for us, and it feels really good. So thanks for being here tonight, and shoot me an email or phone call if I can do anything to help. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
Carol? Teresa?
Yes, thank you.
Renee?